everything I will provide. Okay. So can all of you see the slide? Please respond yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Okay. Very good. Now, our focus is PT3. Now, the first question is PT3 necessary? Okay. You may think, well, for this year, there is no PT3. But I will tell you two reasons. The first reason is this group has students from Form 1, 2, as well as Form 3. So we have students from all forms. So in the future, for next year or the coming years, there will be PT3, number one. Number two, PT3 examination components are quite similar to the components that are in SPM. So PT3 components would serve as something that would prepare you to face SPM, which is inevitable. That's number two. Number three, there would be some sort of an examination to sift your level or to gauge your level to put you in the right stream. And English is a very important, a very essential subject. So therefore, what is evident is PT3 is necessary. All right. Now let's look at the components. As I told you, today will be an introductory lesson. Now, this is basically the description. Okay, what you need to understand, or what is your takeaway from this, is the new CEFR type of examination or questions or assessment would ensure that you as students are skilled in every way in regards to the language. You know, those days, some students can be extremely quiet. There were students, when I was a student, there were students who were extremely quiet, but they are able to write very well. So they'll be very quiet. They don't talk to people, but they will be able to score A+ in SPM. That was common, not anymore. Because now, if you are going to get an A+, you should be able to write well, yes. You should be able to do comprehension tasks well, yes. But at the very same time, you should be able to speak and you should be able to listen. Okay? So it is a holistic development. Now, our focus, however, for the classes would be on paper 1 and paper 2, which is reading comprehension and writing. If you look at reading comprehension, there are multiple choice questions, error correction, information transfer, short answer, and gap text, okay, which are respectively 8, 8, 8, 10, 8 marks, total of 40, okay. And then for essay, we have two types of essays. The first one is short communicative essay. The second one is node expansion, okay, 20 and 20 minutes. All right, moving on. Now the highlights. Written tasks are divided into two, reading comprehension as well as writing, okay. Now, these two papers only contribute 50% of the total mark. Each skill carries equal share and emphasis, which means you have reading comprehension, 25%, writing, 25%, listening, 25%, speaking, 25%, all of which adds to 100%. So, these two writing papers, which we will be focusing in the 12 lessons in the days to come, would only contribute 50%. So, if you want to score well in PT3 or SPM, you should be able to read, write, listen, and speak well. So remember that always. Every skill carries equal share and emphasis. So the exam is basically holistic development and enrichment. Students, I would like to reiterate something now. Please respond in the group because I cannot get back to the group because I'm presenting and I'm teaching. As I told you, I have given 5 extra minutes to allow the students to come in. Once I start my presentation and I start teaching, I will not be adding students into the class anymore. So kindly inform. I'm not going to add any more students. They have to wait to join the classes tomorrow, or they can just refer to the group. Okay, so kindly inform. Because if I'm able to avail myself at 8:15 and I'm able to send the link and wait, I think students should do the same. Okay, now. All right, moving on. We'll go section by section. Okay, now let's focus on paper 1, reading and use of English. Time, 1 hour, 15 minutes. Questions, we have 40 questions, 5 parts, 40 marks. Now, we'll go through the details of the question and then we'll get to the gist of it. Okay? Now, for multiple choice questions, we have 8 questions, which has 3 options. And here, for this particular questions, we have HOTS inclusion. What is the nature of the question? How does the question like? How is HOTS element included in the questions? We will see that, or we will learn that in the days to come. As I told you, I have prepared 12 lessons. So there will be 12 days of classes, which I'm going to conduct for free. Now, the second part is error identification. This is questions 9 to 16. There are 8 questions, no options given. The material that is used for this particular section, it will be more or less 150 words. Okay. Now, third part, information transfer, which is questions 17 to 24. The answer to these questions, okay, would be no more than 3 words and or a number. Remember that. No options given. So it's pretty much a reading comprehension task without any options. The material has to be more or less 250 words. Okay? All right. Part 4, short answer, which is reading comprehension as well. For this, we have questions 25 to 34, 10 questions. Okay? Now, answer has to be no more than 5 words and or a number. Okay? Questions from question 33 and 34, the meaning is given and words to be found from the text. Okay? Meaning given and words to be found from the text. Material has to be more or less 300 words. The material that is used for this particular question. So this material is rather relatively long. Now, the 5th part. This is the last part of paper 1, gapped text. This may seem easy, but this is not that easy because you need to fit in the correct sentence and you need to see if it makes sense. Since it is under the same topic, the options may seem similar. Okay, 8 options are given, although only 6 sentences are removed. The sentences removed are relatively smaller than that of SPM, but 6 sentences are removed. But the option, there will be 8 options. Material has to be around 350 words. Now, this is paper 2. For paper 2, if you look at the overview, it is about 1 hour, only an hour. Okay, you have to answer 2 essays within an hour. So there are 2 parts and 40 marks. So 20 marks each. Now, the first essay is short communicative essay. It is to communicate something. Therefore, the very important element for this particular essay is it has to meet the requirement of the question. This is very, very important. Sangat penting. Memenuhi kehendak soalan. So, sebelum memenuhi, kena memahami, understand, and fulfill the requirement of the questions. Very importantly, Now, this is in about 80 words, 20 marks. It's basically email or message writing. Move on. Guided essay. Okay, when we talk about guided essay, in about 120 words, okay, the rubric is clearly given and thoroughly guided with notes. Okay. Okay. Now, rubric is clearly given and it is thoroughly guided with notes. So there are notes given. Okay. All right. Next. Now we are going to look into the gist of the programs. Multiple choice questions. The expectation is choose the most appropriate answer. For error correction, it has to be grammar knowledge. That will be the focus. For information transfer, the expectation is to receive or to get precise information. For short answer, what we want is to have an accurate answer without wholesale or mindless lifting. You can't simply lift. Okay. And then for gapped text, it is sequencing ability. Being able to sequence. Now, for paper 2, what would be the focus? The focus would be, for short communicative essay, the expectation is the ability to communicate and fulfill the requirement of the task and provide the essentials, okay, within the stipulated word limit. Okay. But can it be more than 80 words? You can write more than 80 words. But remember to always abide by the rubric. Do not exceed it too much. Always try to keep it within the confinement that's given. Okay, next, note expansion. So when we talk about note expansion, expand the notes with the right format or decorum and fulfill the requirements of the task. You expand the notes with the right format or right decorum. If let's say, if it's an article, you need to use the right decorum. If it is a report, then there is a standard of, there is a manner or there is a style with which you abide by. And then fulfill the requirement of the task. Again, here, the requirement of the task has to be fulfilled as well. Okay, next. This is very important. Now, notes on writing. We will go in detail about the writing in the days to come. Okay. Now, what you need to primarily remember is this. For you to be able to produce a good essay, there are 3 major elements. A good essay will have to have 3 major elements. You just imagine a human body. The first is vocabulary and grammar. Now, for a nice human, for a nice person, for a person who looks very nice to look at, he needs to have a good skin. That is vocabulary. And then he needs to have a bone structure. That is grammar. And then we have sentence structure. Sentence structure is like the flesh, daging. Okay. Now, skin is of course vocabulary. Grammar would be the backbone, will be the bone structure, And then we have sentence structure, which is the flesh that ties the bones and the skin intact. And lastly, to mobilize the perfectly built body, you have maturity in thoughts and ideas. Okay, you have maturity in thoughts and ideas. All right. Okay, now we are going to look at a sample. This sample is from Lembaga itself. I'm going to run the question through with you. If you were to see, I'll just display part by part. Now, this is the first paper. Do you see? Questions?
Yes.
This is part one. I'm trying to make it smaller. Okay, this is part one, whereby you have 8 questions. Part one, you have 8 questions, question 1 to 8. So you have a text and you have options A, B, C. You have a text, you have options A, B, C. All right. The text can be very varied. Okay. Now, this is until question number 8. After that, we move on to the next part. This is very similar to SPM as well. So it is always very useful to go through the format. Now, after this would be the next part, which is this. Questions 9 to 16, whereby you have a text and you have words which are wrong, whether semantically or syntactically or grammatically, whichever way it is wrong, you correct it. For example, look at the first one. Most of us know that junk food was unhealthy. It still is unhealthy. Therefore, the correction is. All right. Now, the third part is you have a text and you transfer the information from the text to here. Okay. And the fourth one is you have a text again, and then this text is rather longer, isn't it? Longer than the previous one. And you have questions 25 to 32. You have questions which you would answer in no more than 5 words and or a number. And then you have questions 33 to 34, whereby you have a phrase to which you have got to get the meaning of the word from the text itself. Okay. And part 5, so I told you, gapped text, 6 sentences would be removed. But the options, there will be 8. A to H is 8. Okay. So that's the end of the first paper. And then we move on to the next one. Here you have 2 types of essay. This is the first one, 20 marks. Okay, 20 marks. It's an email. So you read the email and you respond. Okay, read the email from your cousin Hannah to mariaelisa@gmail.com, from Anna Amelia at yahoo.com.my. Subject, trip to an island. Hi Maria, I'm thinking of going to a trip to an island. Going for a trip to an island. I have never been to one before. I don't know which one to choose. Since you're staying in Terengganu, you should know an interesting island that I can visit. What do you think? Tell me where I should go and what are the activities that I can do there. Hannah. In about 80 words, write an email to Hannah about an island that she can visit and the activities that she can do there. Hi, Hannah. And then you have the space to answer. Okay. That's the first question, 20 marks. And you have the second question in about 120 words. Write a report about the Independence Day celebration at your school. You may use the notes below to help you. So the notes are given below. And you would use the notes to develop the essay. And that is pretty much it. Okay. Now, this part, right, essays are evaluated based on 4 criteria. Content, communicative achievement, organization, and language. All essays are assessed based on these 4 criteria. So 5 marks for each. 5 marks for content, 5 marks for organization, 5 marks for communicative achievement, and 5 marks for language. Okay, these are the basis of which we would mark the essay. All right. Now, this is pretty much it. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right.
No, sir.